Thanks, Rahul. I appreciate that. It's my pleasure today to introduce UNF men's basketball coach Matt Driscoll. He was in a former Taylor, the in UNF history. Welcome.
You're gonna have to turn around and do this all from back here. I speak. I'm from Pittsburgh, so I speak the way I speak. I speak at the rate in which I speak. But the one thing I have really honed in on and really gotten good at is I'm going to tell you something, and then I'm going to tell it to you, and then I'm going to tell you what I told you. And I think when you do those three things, you can really be impactful in making a difference. And what I mean by that is whatever you do today, wherever you go today, whatever it is you remember from today, whether it's the joke or something that's being said or someone shared something with you, my goal every single day when I wake up is to be the difference in someone's life. Every single day. And I work really hard at being the difference in someone's life every single day. I don't know who it is. I don't know which person it is in which I come in contact with. But I know this. This young man's going to UNF next year in the fall. And he's going in computer science. Go ahead, keep going what you got to do. But my point is, I think the more that we have the ability to share, to ask, to smile, to listen, the more we do that, the better off we can be. And I tell everyone, including our team, that we can actually change the world. And if you don't think we can, you're foolish. Because if you can change one person, if you can help one person, that ripple, that water you see, the way in which it moves, that's how quickly it'll carry. And that's what we've done for 13 years in our program. For 13 years, we've been a huge difference maker in the greatest bang for anybody who throws darts. And that's the center of the bullseye, which is our campus at UNF. We've gone out and we've gotten some other scores around the community, but we've made an incredible impact on our campus. We've changed lives. We've helped people get to where they want to get to. We've helped others figure out what they want to do in order to get to where they want to get to. But our program has been incredible. And the reason is because of the people that we bring in. And I think you corporate people, you people that have companies, and you people that actually hire people and actually bring people in, one of the biggest things that we always talk about, and I get the question for all the time, is we recruit character, not characters. And I think that's really, really important when you're looking at what you're looking at, because you guys deal with so much Indeed or Monster or all those kind of things. You're looking at these resumes and you're splitting them up and you're throwing these keywords and seeing what can spit out what you can spit out. But at the end of the day, you've truly got to understand who you're bringing in to be with your people, because those people are going to be so impactful in everything you've done, everything you're trying to do, and everything you've accomplished. It can tilt the scale either way. You can bring a bad person into your locker room and it can tilt the scale. You can bring a good person into the locker room and your scale can go to a different direction. You can bring a person that maybe has some issues or some problems into your locker room and you can actually help them get to where they want to get to. Jimmy Williams was that guy. He was a guy that we weren't sure of, didn't know if his character lined up just like ours. But the more we talked to people, the more we figured out Jimmy needed to be with us. Now, you can't have 4 Jimmys. You can't have them. But you can have one, and then you can bring him in. Jimmy goes forward, one of the best players that we had, didn't get his degree. He was 2 classes short of his degree. He's the one guy that we had to find a way. He was out trimming trees and cutting down trees in Kansas. He was putting them in the chopper, which, if you guys know, is one of the most dangerous jobs there is. And he said to himself, what am I doing? What am I doing? Coach keeps telling me to get my degree. What am I doing? Long story short, fast forward, he comes back, he gets his degree in the summer. The day before he got his degree in the summer, he had dated Brooke for a long time. They had a child. And I thought, you know what? This guy's been with her for so long. This guy's been with her through all these things. He came in my office the day before graduation. He said, Coach, just so you know, tomorrow's going to be awesome. And I said, it's going to be one of the greatest days of your life to walk across that stage, not for you, but for your son. He said, no, coach, it's going to be better than that. And I said, why is that? And he said, because I'm going to ask Brooke to marry me. And I said, oh, man, I was in tears. I was in tears. So here's a guy that comes in that we help, and he watches. He sees the way we treat our wives. He sees the way we treat our children. He sees the way we do different things. And next thing you know, bada bing, bada boom, now they're married, live in Orlando. He's very successful. They have 3 boys. His oldest son is a big-time athlete, probably playing football for one of your favorite schools. But a great success story about understanding the difference between people, but most importantly, to pouring into them. When people look at us and they talk about us, if you took the word North Florida, put your hand over top of North and it said Florida, and you took our record in the last 8 years, 3 championships, 5 out of 8 different teams went to the NCAA tournament from our league. It tells you how hard it is to get to the tournament. Well, coach, you should go every year or every other year. Well, guess what? We ain't Florida. We ain't in the SEC, and we don't get 6 teams. But if you put your hand over North and it said Florida, and you looked at our record, you ain't been building a statue for me in Gainesville. So it's just a different world that we live in where we're at. And I'm very, very understanding of that. Because at the end of the day, what we do in our league, that's what's going to determine if we're hired and fired. And believe me, a couple times they tried to get rid of me. They tried to fire me. But the good thing is we keep on winning. We got a chance with all these freshmen and sophomores we started last year. We ended up 7-9 in the league, which is the worst league record we've had in 9 years. And you're thinking 7-9. Well, coach, it wasn't that bad. Whatever. You're right. 10 games were decided in the last 2.5 minutes. 1 possession losses at home. 5. Like, that's a lot. So we're really super excited. We know we're going to be really good. We'll be picked at the top again. And we have a chance to really go back to being who we've been and go back to that championship mode, which we've been in our last one in 2020. And then COVID obviously kind of whacked everything out. But I will say this, when you talk about athletics and you talk about recruiting, I think the 2 biggest things that you guys all worry about, even if you're football fans, it don't matter. Our football team, by the way, is probably one of the best small college football teams in the country. They have the #1 selling T-shirt in a bookstore. On the back, it says still undefeated because we don't have a football team. So that's the good news about being at North Florida. Men's basketball, obviously, is one of those deals. They're going to get to 25,000 students in 25. That's their goal. Eventually, they'll get to football, and I'll be gone by then. So that'll be the next guy's problem. But for you football people, or for you people that are just listening and learning, the NIL is real. The NIL is real. And what I mean by real is not real like it's real, but it's actually real money. So now, instead of the kids getting illegal money, you know, which a lot of kids are still getting, now they're getting real money that's legal. So now they're getting double dipped. Now the kids are actually getting the real money, and now all the holder honors are getting all the other under the table cash money. If you don't think that's going on, you're foolish, and you don't understand college athletics. That's why the guy at LSU just got let go. All you got to do is read those. We had a guy at Baylor. I was at Baylor for 6 years, and I was there during what I call the lean years. Now everybody knows Baylor, because last year they won the national championship. Nobody knows Baylor in 2003 when one player put a cap in another player's head and killed him. And that's what we took over. But at Baylor, we actually had a kid. He got 10 grand to go to another school, but he wanted to go to our school. This is cash. This is back in 2007. So 10 grand ain't a lot. He was a pretty good player, though. But 10 grand is not a lot to go. So he commits to us. He commits to them. That night he's in the emergency room. Doubled over, knot in his stomach, sick. He doesn't want to go there. He wants to go to our school. Now, coach, how do you know he got 10 grand? Here's why. His mother convinced him, don't worry about that. You go to where you want to go to. So he flipped the script. He called us and said, I'm not going there. I'm going to you guys. We said, man, that's awesome. Phone rang the next day. Who was it? Well, nope, the guy wanted his 10 grand back. He said, hey, I gave him 10 grand to go to this other school. He picked you. I need my 10 grand back. I said, man, that's your problem. Like, yeah, you got to go work that out. Crazy part of the whole story is, for him to be eligible in high school, his mother kept all 10 grand in a shoebox, and she gave the money back. How cool is that for just understanding kind of how that whole thing works? So if you don't think people are getting paid, you don't think it doesn't work that way, They got connections to those casinos. You know what happens with a connection to the casino? How do you get paid at a casino? Cash, right? You get those chips, you go cash them in, right? So how do you win if you got a good player? Make sure your table, they're doing a good job for you. Now, don't win all at once. If we're going to give you 100,000, we'll give you 10 grand for 10 weeks. You just got to come in and just play those dice. You guys think I'm crazy? Just read about it. Just read about it. It's interesting how this NLI thing's going. So here's what they got going now. It's called the collective. It's called the collective. And every program's got a collective. So let's say y'all are the donors and y'all are very, very wealthy. Y'all sit in a room just like this with a board just like that. And they say to you, okay, how much does he got? How much does he got? How much does he got? Okay, we got 15 million between us all. All right, here's the people we signed. Who wants them? Who wants him? Who wants him? Who wants her? Who wants this one? This one's got 400,000 followers. This one's got 200,000 followers. This one that. If you don't think that's the way it's going down, wait till you start reading all the stories. Wait till you start reading all the stories. And in Florida is different because in Florida we can't help. So our rules and our laws in Florida are different than other places. So Texas A&M, and again, no disrespect to Coach Fisher, I don't know him. And I'm sure their staff works really hard. And I'm sure they've done a great job in recruiting. I know they have great facilities because I've been there when I was at Baylor. But they landed, what, 5 5-stars and 19 4-stars and 3 2-stars? Yeah, and I think, I'm not positive, 7, there you go. So I think I'm not positive. I met the #1 best defensive, I met the best high school player in the country on accident. Was waiting to go into school in Georgia. He was coming to his car. He had like a 1998 or 2000, whatever. He had all these badges hanging from his bag. And I'm very personable. I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, how you doing, coach? I said, man, you've been to Kentucky, all these places, man. That's pretty impressive. You must be pretty good. And he was like, oh, yeah, I didn't know who he was. His name's Overton. Does that name ring a bell? He's a #1 player. He's higher rated than J.J. Watt and Dominic Sue. Any great defensive end you've ever heard of, he's rated way better than that dude. And I didn't know who he was. And I said, what were you thinking about doing? Where are you thinking about going? He said, my mom played volleyball in Kentucky. My dad went to Alabama. I was like, whoa, that's 2 big stretches right there. And he ends up going to where? Texas A&M. Uh-oh, yeah. So anyways, NIL. I don't know if it's true because I don't know. I haven't read about it though, but someone told me the other day, I think he got like a $10 million total package for NIL. So, but all legit. All legit. I mean, it's all, that's what it is. That's what the NIL has become. It's become a way. Now, they didn't know it was going to get this crazy. I'm on the Congress for the NCAA. They didn't know it was going to get this crazy this fast. So the other day we had a Congress call. One of the head coaches on the Congress call said they were talking about like this rule and that rule, and we got to change this and we got to do this. Things that really weren't significant, but they are, especially in my world. And all of a sudden, coach stops and he goes, hey, listen, this is all good, well and good, but we got an issue. And everybody kind of paused. What's the issue? We got an NIL issue. So here's what's happening. First of all, here's what recruits are saying. I'm not going to use a school, but I'm going to give you real truths. So one kid's leaving the school in the transfer portal. He goes back to coach and says, coach, I really want to stay here because I really like you. And I really like this team and I think we can be good. However, it's going to cost you $200,000. So how are we going to get $200,000 in NIL? Now, this school can't do that. Like, they just don't have those means. So this kid's gone. Another kid, he's at a Power 5 school. So one of the big boys. He says, it's going to cost $500,000, coach. $500,000. Like, we have the thing called the collective, which means a group of money that we can figure out about these 13 scholarships. Like maybe 200, maybe we can do 200,000. 200,000. Come on, man. That ain't happening. So I'm not going to this school. Hey, we're in the locker room. Hey, man, I hear you're getting $150,000. I'm the leading scorer on the team. Now, last year I was just a Joe Blow. I was a nobody. But I'm the leading scorer on the team. I'm getting like 20,000. You're getting 150? Oh, you're getting 150? I'm only getting 75. I'm the leading rebound. Man, I set all the screens for you. I'm the guy that gets you open. I'm only getting 75 and you're getting 150, but I'm getting 10. If you guys don't think that's real, you're foolish. Because that's what's transpiring right now. All these, here's the other one. Like, people are coming in and saying, well, listen, if I can't get X, Y, and Z, I'm going to have to go. And now the transfer portal goes crazy. How does the transfer portal work, and why is it so crazy, and why does everybody want to know about it? It's twofold. It's right at the beginning, so football at Christmas, and then men's basketball right at the end of March. Who isn't good enough and they're not going to come back? Who thinks they're better than they are? They want to go and test the waters. Who thinks they're better than they are, but they really aren't? So therefore, when they go test the waters, they're going to be stuck in a portal for a long time, right? And then so this portal, right now for us, it's almost 1,400 kids. Here's the caveat. So now those kids are committing. So now the second wave comes because May 1st, you got to end it. So what just happened in college football in the last 2 weeks? What just got over? What just got over? Spring football. Well, who just left LSU? The best freshman running back in the country. He just left on Monday. Because now, after the spring football game, everybody's reevaluating everybody that they have and seeing what they can get and seeing what's in the portal. Because kids came at Christmas, remember? Football transfer started at Christmas. So now those kids that came in, oh my goodness, that kid at Penn State's pretty good. Oh my goodness, that kid from Michigan State's pretty good. Oh my goodness, that kid from Akron's pretty good. And now the guy that was there, now they're bouncing. So now the portal, like, it's going to go through the roof in football these next 2 weeks until May 1st. For men's basketball, we're getting guys committed. So now the guys that were going to stay, the guys that were all in, the guys that you felt really were going to help build this deal, now they're like, man, Bob's pretty good. Man, that kid, I saw a video of Carter. Man, Carter's a beast. I may not play. Like, where am I going to play? You know what? I probably need a transfer. So now these kids, these next 2 weeks, now we got the new influx of transfer portal kids. So it's an ongoing deal. Our best player had conversations with, and I said, listen, if you want to go, go. Like, if you want to go to a higher level, you've earned it. Like, you're good enough. Just go. Go. Now, if it doesn't work out, I can't help you. Because I'm not going to wait. Because I can't wait. Because if I wait, I might lose Bob or I might lose Carter. Like, I got to take care of us. But if you want to go, I'm all for you and I'll help you. So there's two different ways you can look at the transfer portal and the way in which you want to go about recruiting and how that works. The best thing is you got to love on them. You got to tell them the truth. You got to discipline them when necessary. But at the end of the day, you've got to make sure they understand that you've got their best interest for whatever that looks like for them, because everybody's different. Everybody's different. And we've been really good at that. The greatest player to ever score in Division I basketball history in the state of Florida played for us. 2,437 points. He came in the office and said, Coach, like, what do you think I should do? And I said, you do what you think is best. And he said, I really want to stay, but I want to also get to the NBA. And I said, well, if you stay, you can get to the NBA, but here's what you're going to have to do. And of course, it all came to fruition. It all worked. He got to the Denver Nuggets. He's having a great career right now, making a ton of money. He's going to make over $1 million next year in China. Like, he's doing great. He's doing great. But you got to be very, very transparent. You got to be that's the thing about this recruiting. You guys better understand. Here's the other thing. Everybody's telling these kids from a perspective that they have no idea about. So you can transfer one time without sitting out. You can also transfer when you're a graduate. You also got an extra year because of COVID. So this year we played more 23 and 24-year-olds than you could ever imagine. We're playing grown men. Grown men. We had a kid come back, scored 1,600 points for us at practice with us. I don't know if any of you watched Providence play this year. Anybody watch Providence play? So remember Noah Horkler, the blonde-haired kid, looks like a surfer? He played for us. He averaged a double-double, played for 2 years. Unfortunately, we had to let him go. Providence took him. But because he sat out and then he played, then he had COVID, he was a 24-year-old grown man killing in the Big East. He's in the NBA tryouts right now. Killing. He played for us. We're the one that helped him with his three-point shot. Like, we're the ones that developed this kid, right? This kid comes back and practices with us. He's been out of school for 2 years, scored 1,600 points for us. And at the end of practice, I said, just so you know, you're the same age as Noah. This would have been your same year of school with Noah. Can you imagine if you were back in college playing against us, how many you'd be averaging? But that's what's going to happen in football and in basketball for the next 3 years at least, is all these COVID kids, they got an extra year. So now you got kids transferring upon transferring upon transferring. How about this one? There's a kid that committed to Clemson, transferred from Princeton to Clemson, and last night he opened his recruitment back up. Because once you sign, you don't have to go, because there's no longer, all it is a piece of paper. It's not an NLI. It's just a piece of paper. So now he told Clemson, you're my favorite. I really want to marry you. However, I want to listen to this school because my family thinks it's best. My gut feeling is you got a really good NIL. That's my gut. Now, this kid's Princeton. This kid's brilliant, but he's also a human being. So that's the world that we live in this recruiting world. So it is what it is. It's all part of what we do, and we'll figure it out. We'll grow with it. But they definitely opened up a Pandora's box, and it's definitely going full speed. It's going full speed. Any questions? Uh-oh.
Great job. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Actually, these guys are pretty special because usually it's like SeaWorld up here. It's like the splash zone. I get going and stuff starts coming out. So I appreciate it. It's going well. Go ahead.
I can't place the accent. I don't know whether it's Brookline,
okay,
Beachview, Knoxville,
Bellevue.
Oakland, Bellevue.
Bellevue.
All right, man.
North side.
Good to see you.
Where are you from?
What Mexican War Streets?
Franco Harris.
Here we go.
Huh? Just so you know. Hey, listen to me now. Just so you know. So you know where that park is right there?
Yeah.
That's where I used to play.
I hear you.
And it was awesome.
Yeah,
Not from the fact of black, white, but it was awesome because I always felt like I belonged.
Mm-hmm.
Like it never was about anything else. I remember there was a riot after Run DMC,
Mm-hmm.
and I was down there hooping,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so loved and entrenched.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny about Billy Searles was coming down, and Billy said, "Hey, Drisk, like you got to go." I'm like, "I ain't going nowhere." He's like, "No, you got to go." I'm like, "I play here all the time. Like everybody knows me. Like I'm fine." They're like, "No, this is different. Like you got to go." So I left. Third time was a good time to go. But Franco Harris, he was the man down there on Mexican War Street.
That's right.
He was the man. Yes. Oh, you had a second question?
I did have a second question. The science of transparency, honesty, letting them know you care.
Sure.
Talk about that, because you spent a lot of time on the science of the money and their ability to transfer. How do you instill in your assistants being able to connect man to man and instill a loyalty and a trust?
First of all, I think number one is hiring. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think sometimes our greatest strengths are our greatest weaknesses. So sometimes my transparency is not what you want to hear. And that's the one thing we talk to our guys about all the time. We talk to our staff about all the time is you've got to be able to look in the mirror, because that's the one person that you're never going to fool. Now, you may try to fool them, but at the end of the day, you ain't fooling them. Because when your heart gets squeezed, that's what's coming out. If you squeeze a lemon, you get lemon juice, lime juice, orange juice. So like at the end of the day, when you get squeezed, knowing what's right doesn't matter unless you do what's right. And we're really, really, really big on those things and about serving and what it looks like and how we serve to in front of them and what it looks like. And I think when you talk about how do you instill this, it's every single day. So it's this morning in the weight room. It's when I'm walking to the parking lot. It's when they see me in the hotel, when they see me at the restaurant, when they see me maybe out and about in all those different areas. Because the one thing we tell the guys is if you never lie, you never got to remember anything. So if you understand that, and whatever you've done, however good or bad or whatever it is you think the level it is, like the sooner we find out, the sooner that we know, the sooner we have the opportunity to help. It doesn't mean we're going to punish necessarily at that moment whenever that presents itself. And that's why we've had so much success. We tell our guys this all the time. When talent's equal, character's going to separate you. And it's happened every time in our league. It's happened every championship we've won. When talent is equal, character is what's going to separate you. And so we really try to instill that, share the sugar, good, better, best, understanding what that looks like. And the other thing is going out and spending time with the boys and girls, going out and spending time at Charlesbucker, going out and spending time at Wolfson, going out and spending time with others that maybe don't have what you have, or even adopted. We've adopted a kid with a brain tumor. We took in a kid with mitochondria. Unfortunately, both of them died. So you put the guys through those kind of things, and I think that really helps from that aspect. But thanks for asking that. Go ahead.
Coach, again, welcome back. An excellent
you.
presentation.
I'm not even sure what I talked about.
Well, as you said, Pandora's box has been opened.
Sure.
So with the transfer portal, with the NIL, with basically we'll call it just the Wild Wild West, has the NCAA in any way, do you think, regretted this decision to allow all this? And do they have any intent, nor do they have any desire to possibly cap things, maybe close Pandora's box, limit it a little bit? Any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Being that where I just was at the Final Four and the meeting that we had and the Congress that I'm on, there was a case that was just won 9-0 was the Supreme Court. So the NCAA is not beating them. So they're sick of getting sued. They're sick of losing all those battles. So they're just going to keep on, figuring it out and letting people go the way they're going to go. If you look at the NCAA rules with the NIL, they're very, very, very vague. There really aren't any. Now, Florida has our own deal, but in other places, in other states, you basically can do whatever you want, however you want to do it, in the way in which you want to do it. Now, you're not supposed to be able to give it to them as an enticement to come play for your school. So I think have they regretted it? I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm going to say no is because I don't think they had a choice. Because if they want to survive, because now the talk right now is, you guys know that football has nothing to do with the NCAA, right? So football makes all those millions of dollars. The NCAA gets zero. The NCAA made $1.15 billion last year, brought in revenue. You know where they got it from? $850 million from March Madness, $350 million roughly from the insurance policy from the March Madness the year before, and $91 million from an insurance policy of the March Madness for the tickets they might have lost from COVID. They make 1.1, all their money comes in from revenue from men's basketball. There's a trickle of other things. So men's basketball is the dude, and it covers all the sports. Women's basketball, all the sports it covers. Well, right now there's a talk amongst the big boys to do what football's doing. Why do we want to share the money with everybody else? Let's do what football does. Let's get fit. What did the SEC just give out? $55 million to each school? After they gave them a $25 million loan last year, by the way. So to answer your question is, the NCAA is treading on thin water because they're trying to stay afloat. So it looks like the way it's going with business and the way it's going with pay for play and the way it's going for all that, I would think pretty soon it's gonna be its own world, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Coach Driscoll, again, fantastic program. I like to look at the bright side of things, and I like
Yes,
to look at
sir.
the positive of NIL.
Yes.
And to me, the positive of NIL is it keeps a lot of kids from jumping to the pros or too early and then get washed out. And I look at my alma mater, Oscar Shibwe, will make more money coming back this next year in NIL than he would make at the top of the second round in the pros. So that's why I think he's coming back. But there's a lot of kids that I've seen from my program that have gone washed out, but they were going for the brass ring. Now they can stay behind, make some money. They still may never make pros, but at least they get some money for their family.
First of all, great point. Second of all, in football, you can't go until your third year anyways. So once you sign at a school, you're really locked in. Basketball is the one caveat. And because of that, you're 100% right. Kids are going to, they try to make them money through cost of attendance. And they were giving them $5,000 or $10,000, whatever it was. And it just didn't meet, the need, so to speak, of what they felt. And they think that it's going to help offset that. But in the reality of it, guys who are one and done are still going to be one and done. And the problem is when guys are one and done and they go, there's a bunch of guys declaring for the draft right now that have no chance. And they're not going to get drafted. And that's why that new pro league came over overtime. So now there's a new pro league. You don't even have to go to college anymore. You can just go play in that pro league. They're going to pay you $500,000, and it's up in Atlanta, and they have whatever they have, 40 kids or 50 kids. And now you don't have to go to college. They're going to give you online classes that you can take if you want to take it, but they're doing it for that reason as well too. So I agree with you 100%. I'm all about solutions because there's too many problems in the world. And it's a great way to put money in kids' pockets. What I'm concerned about is the illegal recruiting that's taking place. That's what bothers me. If you go play for your school, then obviously you go play for your school. Like Kentucky's Kentucky. Like,
I remember when I was a grad, hundreds of years ago. I remember the biggest one I can remember was Jack Givens.
sure,
The day he signed,
the goose,
his family moved into a new house.
sure,
And there's so much money there with thoroughbreds and everything else. And everybody had summer jobs
correct.
with at the horse farms, and we're getting cash like it was crazy. And I remember I had finished school, and I had a few days to stay behind, and we had a recruit by the name of Reggie Givens, and not Reggie, Reggie Warford. And he happened to be the first Afro-American man to ever play at Kentucky and graduate. He was point guard, not very good, but nice kid. And he asked me to do some research for him for a term paper he had to write. So I said, well, I won't write the paper, but I'll be more than happy to do the research for you. So I did an hour or two of research, and I told him I wanted $20. And he went into his room, opened up a drawer. And again, this is a guy who's a 7th, 8th person off the bench. And he couldn't find anything less than a 50 in his drawers. And I mean, there's money everywhere.
100%.
And it's
You know what? I would go on top of this though. A lot of the schools are starting to hire people now to help these kids from a financial too. Like, what are you doing with the money? How are you investing the money? And here's the other caveat that people forgetting about. Those 3 beautiful letters that happened on Monday. What's that? IRS. Right? IRS. So there's another thing that these kids are thinking about, all this money, getting all this stuff. Oh, well, IRS is coming knocking. So you get a 1099 and you just got whatever you got. So you owe us $75,000. So that's the stuff that I hope they do a really good job of making sure that these kids are helping to invest as well.
A teacher, a coach, and his insight into intercollegiate athletics. Let's give it up for UNF coach Matthew Driscoll. President Sherlock, let's send it back to you at the podium.
Thank you, Coach Driscoll. Fantastic presentation. Once again, another week down, another great presentation. Next week, one of my favorite meetings of the year, annual Youth Awards program. Everybody loves the program. There's going to be a lot of visitors here, so come early so you can get a good seat. And Dr. Thornton's going to be hosting that, and I'm sure he will match the energy level we experienced today, right, Randy? Good job. Good luck. Coach Driscoll had to leave. He's got a recruit coming in. We normally give a speaker gift out, a Rotary token to inspire people. I don't think he needs it. I think he's good. Next week, we also have a board meeting next week, and all members invited to attend. And I would like to ask Tim Johnson to lead us in the 4-way test.
It's my pleasure. Please join me in the 4-way test of the things that we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Oh, I thought y'all were going to keep going. Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank y'all.
Thank you, Tim. Quote of the week: success is how high you bounce when you hit bottom. General George S. Patton.